Good evening and thank you for joining me at Black News Tonight. I am Marc Lamont Hill. Outrage in Kansas City as faith leaders there turn over a third video showing the deadly police shooting of Malcom Johnson. 31-year-old Johnson was shot and killed back in March at a Kansas City gas station. Police were reportedly looking for Johnson in connection to an assault as they entered the gas station with guns drawn. Moments later, officers and Johnson were in a physical confrontation. During that scuffle, an officer was shot and Johnson was killed. In the video, it is unclear who fired the shots, and the first two videos show how the confrontation started. All three videos have been turned over to Missouri State Highway Patrol. The investigation still ongoing. The same Louisiana State Police Unit whose troopers stunned, punched, and dragged Ronald Greene to death in 2019, well, they're now under internal investigation. A secret panel is behind the probe, and it's looking into whether its officers are systematically targeting black motorists for abuse. That panel, a response to Greene's death, as well as 3 other problematic stops. In all of those stops, black men were beaten.
You're looking at the body cam footage of up to a dozen troopers over a 2-year period of time. That's thousands of hours worth of video that have to be reviewed. And that to me suggests that, the leadership within the state police believes that there are problems that go beyond just 2 or 3 examples.
No troopers have been charged in Greene's arrest, and it is not clear if the panel has a deadline or if it plans to expand the audit to the other 8 troopers in the state. One of the world's largest food processing companies just reached a multi-million-dollar settlement after claims that it discriminated against Muslim employees. JBS Swift Company will pay up to $5.5 million to settle a lawsuit that claimed the meatpacking company discriminated against Muslim employees at its beef processing plant in northern Colorado. According to the lawsuit filed by the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission in a federal court in Denver in 2010, the plant in Greeley refused breaks for prayers or breaking of the Ramadan fast, and it disciplined about 300 workers who were Muslim immigrants from Somalia more severely than their counterparts. Joining me now to discuss this major settlement is Jaylani Hussein. He is the executive director of the Minnesota branch of the Council on American Islamic Relations. Jaylani, thank you so much for joining me. What does this settlement mean for working class laborers who are disproportionately black, immigrant, and Muslim?
It means a lot. Thank you for having me. It really means a lot. And this case has been going on for over a decade now. It's a case that many people have been following, and there have been very similar situated cases settled and are still being settled today. Fortunately for this family, they waited this long to get a settlement. But it sends a strong message that religious freedom is going to be something that the administration cares about. And most importantly, that this is not going to be tolerated. And again, this predominantly Somali immigrants who work in many similar situated factories across this country, especially in the heartland, who are there just, having an opportunity to work, but also to adhere to their religious practice. And in this particular case, they were even denied bathroom breaks. Some of them wanted to use their bathroom breaks to go and pray, and they did not have clean places to pray. And so this settlement goes to not only provide monetary, but to change policy. And in addition to that, to also allow for those who want to be rehired to be rehired, even though it's been so long that this case has been going on.
The lawsuit mentions the employees at the food processing plant had to endure harassment during prayers. The water fountains were shut off during Ramadan, and vulgar laced verbal jabs were thrown at them. When we hear these kinds of stories, when we hear about these kind of workplace tactics, how prevalent is this?
Sadly to say, it's very prevalent. We're seeing this across the country. We're seeing it now, particularly in management changes. When there's a new management changes, oftentimes refusing people to be allowed to pray, and even though they were allowed to pray before that. So that's something we're seeing. It's pretty prevalent. We're also seeing the targeting of Black Muslims, particularly Black immigrant Muslims who work in these environments. But they are very resilient, hardworking, and hats off to many of them who fought, who stayed in, who demanded their rights. And now, 10 years plus later, they can be part of history in ensuring freedom of religion is a bedrock of this country. And companies like who many of us are customers to need to be waking up and realizing the working conditions and the type of religious violations that are happening across this country. And we really all need to be alert to these kind of corporations who are silencing and harassing their employees and denying their religious rights.
Organizations like CARE are at the forefront of trying to fight for this type of outcome, to create more justice, to create more equal rights for Muslims around the United States, to be sure. What are some of the big issues that you see being faced by Muslims in the workplace nowadays? Obviously, we have this case, but there seem to be others that are emerging, some really significant ones.
Well, I think, CARE Minnesota and all of the CARE chapters across the country, we still see employment discrimination as predominantly one of the largest segment of our caseload. And discrimination at work is coming from individual harassment that are being ignored by HR. We're seeing it also happening in the corporate world sometimes, where you may not be denied the right to pray, but you're punished by not attending certain meetings, especially on Friday prayer, where many Muslims have to observe and go to Friday prayers. You may not be denied the right to pray, but then you might be punished indirectly. And so there are all types of discrimination we're seeing. The Muslim community is fighting hard, and CARE and all the CARE chapters are doing what we can. But we also believe that it's important that corporations across this country really talk about inclusion practices and include that. So at CARE Minnesota, we offer trainings to corporations around diversity and inclusion to be proactive on how to make sure that Muslims are welcome and in the corporate office, but also on the factory line. And that's critical, that we don't want to resolve issues through legal matters, but also do it through proactive efforts.
That sounds great. That's the work that needs to be done, not just for Muslims, but for all people around the country. But certainly Muslims and Black Muslims bear so much of the brunt of the type of discrimination that you're talking about. Jaylani Hussein, thank you so much for joining me. We'll be certainly having you back soon to talk more about the latest efforts around the country to protect Muslims from various forms of workplace injustice. Meanwhile, in Texas, Governor Greg Abbott has signed their 1836 project into law. The 1836 Project. It promotes patriotic education.
The 1836 Project promotes patriotic education about Texas and ensures that the generations to come understand Texas values.
The name mirrors Nicole Hannah-Jones' 1619 Project, which examines U.S. history from the date when enslaved people first arrived on American soil. President Biden. So let's pause there for just a second. It is fascinating the way that the 1619 Project, and along with critical race theory and any other thing that forces America to come to terms with its racial history, gets white folks so unsettled. Their feathers get so ruffled. Now they're writing books, 1830 projects, 1842 projects, 1926 projects. They're coming up with new numbers and new projects, as opposed to simply coming to terms with the fact that we live in a nation that was born out of racial inequality, that was born out of racial injustice, that was born out of the exploited labor of enslaved Africans. We have to come to terms with this stuff. We have to tell the truth about what America is. And no matter how many fake projects y'all come up with, it does not change the outcome. Anyway, President Biden's son, Hunter, he's being accused of using the N-word multiple times while texting with his white lawyer. Hunter reportedly sent attorney George Messiers a text in January of 2019 that talked about a big penis. He also told the lawyer, "I only love you because you're black," and true that, N-word, except he actually said the word. In another text just a month earlier, the younger Biden wrote, The lawyer saying, how much money do I owe you? Because N-word, you better not be charging me Hennessy rates. There were several more references to a penis and the N-word throughout the leaked texts. Biden also reportedly kept a racist meme on his laptop of his father, Joe Biden, and former President Barack Obama. Now, this is a story that so many people on the right have said, why is nobody on the left talking about it? Why are no black people talking about it? Why are you giving them a pass? You wouldn't do this if Donald Trump would do it. Okay, let's be clear here. This ain't Donald Trump. This is Hunter Biden. This ain't Joe Biden. This is Hunter Biden. This ain't Jill Biden. This is Hunter Biden. So part of why many people aren't covering this story is not because there's some deep conspiracy to cover up liberal racism. It's simply because we don't care that much about what Hunter Biden does. Is this racist? Sure. Should Hunter Biden do it? No. Is Hunter Biden reflective of so many white people that have this obsession with using the N-word so much so that when they get the opportunity to use it in their private precincts, they do it? Absolutely. Should he be chastised? Sure. All the above is true. But it doesn't change the fact that Republicans are attempting to take away our voting rights, that they are attempting to shut down conversation about race in schools, that they are attempting to dismantle our economy in ways that benefit the vulnerable. That's what I'm focused on. So yeah, Hunter Biden, don't do that. Hunter Biden, that's racist. Hunter Biden, I've lost respect for you. This is all true. This isn't me being silly or dismissive, but it's to say we also can't focus on the racist actions of random white people when we got so many special white people out there who we elected to office, Democrat and Republican, who we need to be holding accountable. All right, be sure you join the conversation as well. I want to hear what you think. We all want to hear what you think. So make sure you head over to our BNC Instagram and Twitter pages. Let us know how you feel. You can also check out the website, bnc.tv.